Hey, Lions family, this city just got a trench-level jolt that feels like late-season insurance and playoff. Proof rolled into one. This one hits the identity of Detroit football right where we live. Violent hands, downhill attitude, and an offense that doesn't apologize for moving people against their will. Stick with me, because I'll lay out the why, the how, the price, the fit, the ripple effect on our run game and pass pro rules. And only quando for the name because timing is leverage. And leverage wins Sundays in the fourth quarter when everyone else is tired, and we are not. I'll also show you where the depth chart gets thicker, where the cap mask stays clean, why this doesn't block our young core, and what it means for the final 8 weeks when lines of scrimmage decide everything and the NFC North becomes a street fight. I've said it 100 times. Our identity starts up front, and we've been living right. Pounding the rock with a line that blends mean streak with discipline. Mitts in zone and gap, double teams that dent the front. Pin pull that gets us on the edge, and pass sets that protect the rhythm throws while still letting us hit explosives off play action. But you build for 17 games plus January. Not for one Sunday, and that means you plan for dings. You plan for snap counts that spike, and you plan for the kind of opponent that lines 5 across and dares you to win your one-on-one, 5 inches at a time, so the front office has been hunting value. Not panic, looking for a piece that can live at tackle in a pinch. Kick inside if you need a bully, wear the 6 lineman number in heavy packages. And bring a little more nasty to short yardage without forcing you to redraw the playbook. This is what I'm hearing from the building. If the board lines up, Detroit is ready to pull a low-cost trigger on a former first-rounder with real guard tackle flexibility. A guy whose ceiling flashed early, but got buried in a messy offense. The kind of change of scenery, change of coaching, change of standard bet that fits our timeline because the contract is simple. The compensation is light, and the upside covers your winter. Before I put a name on it, let me frame the context the right way. Brad Holmes does not chase noise. Dan Campbell stands on the guys in the room. And our defensive staff has said out loud they won't reach just to make a trade deadline headline. That's leadership. That's why the locker room believes in the process. And it's exactly why a move like this, when it's aligned with identity, when the money is clean, when the locker room culture can absorb it, becomes smart instead of splashy. Think about our current blueprint. Protect Jared. That's where this addition sits quiet, deliberate, immediately useful. The player is Trevor Penning, and the structure being discussed around the league is a day 3 pick, specifically something in that 4th round, 2026 range for what amounts to a 1-year rental with club control vibes because there's no 5th-year option to worry about and no long-term number handcuffing us. That's the leverage. You get a former first-round tackle who can cross-train at guard. You plug him as your 6th offensive lineman in jumbo. You give Hank Fraley a mauler to sculpt. And you buy yourself margin if Taylor Decker needs maintenance, if matchups demand extra beef, or if you want to protect a late-season lead by closing games with double tight ends and a bonus tackle who moves people out of the club. I've gone through Penning's tape arc. The rookie flashes were real. Leg drive through contact, finish to the echo of the whistle, enough foot quickness in vertical sets when his hands are right. The issues were teachable, overset, lean at the waist, grabby when beaten late inside, and some timing penalties when cadence and assignment weren't clean. That stuff stabilized in a system like ours because we don't ask our tackles to dance on islands for 45 snaps. We marry protection to play action, and we help our edges with formation, motion, chip rules, and run-pass sequencing that keeps rushers thinking. Slide him inside on certain weeks, and the traits pop even more shorter corner, less space to cover. Chance to use his power profile against 3 techs who want to win with first step. An immediate value on duo where he can climb with violence and keep his hips square. On the goal line, we can go big, extra big, report him eligible, and put defensive ends in a blender between down block, kick out, and pin pull reads that feel like punishment after a 13-play drive. Price matters, and a Day 3 chip for trench insurance is premium roster management when you're in your window. You protect your Day 1 and Day 2 capital for blue chip traits. You spend late-round currency on proven tools, and you let your development operation handle the smoothing. Financially, this fits the cap the way you want a November ad to fit the cap minimal hit. Clean rollover options, no ripple that touches Amon-Ra, Panay, or the spine of your defense. And the locker room piece? This is our type. Nasty on the field, hungry off it, and humbled enough by some bumps to walk into Allen Park and shut up, work, and earn. Give that to a staff that turns edges into edges, and you get exactly what you're buying, a higher floor on the worst day of your season. Now zoom out with me to the calendar and the opponents who love to widen fronts and bait you into pass-first football. With Penning in the building, we can choose violence on our terms more often, big sets on early downs that bully light boxes, six-man protections that still sell shot plays, and third and short answers that lean on mass instead of magic. Think of the dominoes. Extra beef lets your tight ends release quicker, which helps Jared get to his second window throws before the backside end arrives. Extra beef shrinks the edge angle for the best rusher on the field, which changes the math for their pressure menu. Extra beef lets you run toss crack with bad intentions because the play side down block doesn't leak. And when winter hits, the tape starts to look like Detroit football, not fantasy football. There's also a quiet benefit people miss. Practice quality iron sharpens iron, and adding another NFL-ready body with first-round talent at OL means our rotation stays fresh, and the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday work gets better without draining legs. That is how you show up in December and still look fast on the last drive of the game. And yes, adding Penning doesn't mean we ignore the edges or the secondary on the other side of the ball. It means we keep our shopping list honest late window value, not reach, and cap discipline intact while still giving the offense a tool that answers a lot of what-ifs in one transaction. Let me address the two-sided reality because we keep it grown here. On Lions News Fan Report, Dan Campbell has been straight no expectation to go wild at the deadline, and that's not lip service. It's the truth of a roster we love and depth we trust. Our defensive staff has said they won't make a move that disrespects the work of the guys who have stepped up, and they've earned that respect. So how do you square that with this? Simple. This is not reaching. This is reinforcing. It is not a headline for the sake of a headline. It's adding a hammer to a toolbox we already use every Sunday. And because the compensation is modest and the contract is clean, you keep every other door open, even the defensive ones, if the right value shakes free later. That's how adults build in the NFL. Protect the core, buy margins, avoid the panic tax. On field, my deployment plan is crystal. Activate Penning as the 6th OL in our short yardage and 4-minute packages immediately. Teach him our verbiage for double teams and pass-off rules. Give him inside reps on weeks where the opponent's 3-tech beats with power more than twitch. And have him on call to protect the blind side if you need a maintenance series. In Pass Pro, keep him anchored with Help Wolves' early RB chip on wide 9, swap motion to compress the edge, and then let him graduate as the timing settles. In the run game, feature him on down blocks in pin pull, teach him to stay inside out on outside zone so the C-gap doesn't leak, and pair him with our best finisher so the double becomes personal. You want to tilt the field? Put him next to Panay on a heavy surface and dare a defensive coordinator to sit in nickel. That's how you bend a game into Detroit shape. I want your pulse before we hit the reveals. Echo drop your take right now in the comments. Should we trade a 2026 fourth for a 1-year? Guard, tackle hammer to thicken the line for the stretch run? Or do you stand pat and ride the current depth with faith in the room? Talk roll. Not just name where would you use the extra mass first. 3rd and 1 in the low red. 4-minute offense up 4 points. Or early down shot protection when defenses are hell-bent on wide 9 chaos? I read everything, and I'll feature the smartest blueprint on the next upload. Here's the bottom line, clean and tight. Trevor Penning to Detroit at a day 3 price is the definition of smart aggression, no panic. No overpay, real fit, real utility, and if the board cooperates, it gives us immediate force in the places that decide playoff games without touching the future we're building. If it doesn't materialize because the price shifts or the market changes, we still win by showing that our standard is the filter, not the rumor cycle. But if this clicks, you will feel it on 3rd and short in December, and that is where teams are made or broken. If you're rocking with that vision, lock in with me, like the video, subscribe, ring that bell. And share this with the diehards who live for pad-level football, because I'll be here the second the ink dries or the board moves, with tape, cap notes, and the next layer of the plan.